Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
And Terrence.
What's up?
All right, guys, we are back. This is episode 275, the 688. This is the first and only Tyler Perry movie we will be doing this year, so enjoy. Getting it right out of the way. This is a 2024 American war drama film written and directed by Tyler Perry. Let me give you sort of the general logline here. The film is based on the 2019 magazine article Fighting a Two-Front War by Kevin M. Hymel on the contributions of the 6888 Central Postal Directory Battalion, an all-black and all-female battalion in World War II. The movie stars Kerry Washington, Ebony, Obsidian, and Dean Norris. And also Oprah Winfrey makes a bit of a cameo in it as well. Okay. I'll go to Micah first. Your thoughts on this film?
The thing about art is that it is supposed to give you it's supposed to make you feel something. Even if it's a negative feeling, it's supposed to evoke some sort of reaction. And this really didn't. I can really appreciate the fact that Tyler Perry took it upon himself to tell this story because literally no one else would. And I will give props to him for bringing this story to the forefront and doing what he can to throw some praise on a group of people who would never ever get it, ever.
Not by the mainstream.
And not by the mainstream. So I'm glad that the movie exists for that. I think he did care about this movie, right? Like Brad likes to use a word that I think sums it up. This is a cromulent movie. It is fine. It's adequate. It's not the best acting, but it's way too long. It's way too long. And when you said that this is based off of a magazine article, yeah, I can. There's way too much uninteresting like love story stuff in this movie, but I don't know, man. I don't know. That's my review.
Is this? I'll pose this to Mike or to Terrence as well. Is this his best movie?
Is this his best movie?
That's what many people say. Many people.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to define what best is. I think he has probably put the most amount of money into this movie.
Yeah. More money doesn't mean better.
Yeah,
right.
Sorry.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't. But from an entertainment perspective, no, not at all. We make fun of his like melodramatic movies, but I do get some sort of like feeling from them. And I genuinely think that Why Did I Get Married is his best movie. I think
100%.
that is. I think relationships and especially nowadays where the gender wars thing is like at the forefront. I think that movie is great. Even with its like heavy-handed like messaging. That's the most genuine entertainment that I get out of that movie. Like I'm feeling the way he wants me to feel when watching that movie.
Yep.
And not mea culpa or Divorce in a Life or A Fall from Grace or Acrimony. Like
Ooh, that's like a triple threat or whatever amount for that's a murderer's row of like really bad but also extremely entertaining for the wrong reasons movies by him.
Yeah.
All right, Terrence, your thoughts on this?
So Tyler Perry, we do this it's the same song and dance every time we do a Tyler Perry movie. I appreciate, like Micah said, I appreciate that he does. It does seem like he really cares about the subject matter of this movie, and like, it's an amazing story, right? These women got 16 million pieces of mail to people in 3 months. That's fucking insane. And Tyler Perry has made a career out of just like throwing movies together and telling stories that he says are our stories. That's fine. I love the way that he pays his actors more than they would get paid in other movies. I love that he gives Black people work on his movies. I love the fact that he actually went on location in this movie. It's great. All of that stuff, like he like you said, he really cared about this. The issue is, like, he's 20 years in the game, and like what I'm watching on the screen, on my television, the boob tube, if you will, it's terrible. The final product is always terrible for the most part. And this is no different. I don't like this movie. I don't think it's very good. I think the acting is terrible. He put a lot of money into it, but it didn't matter because he still didn't put out a great product. This is a terrible movie to me. Subject matter is great. In the last 20 minutes, he put the cheat code in. So you're like, you can't be too mad at the movie because of they showed the real women shit, all of which lived to be like 100 years old, which is amazing. But everything before that was fucking terrible. I don't like this movie. It's not good. And what the fuck was going on? What's the name that played Eleanor Roosevelt with her teeth? What was that all about?
Look up
what Eleanor Roosevelt looked like.
Is that what it was?
But
who was that? It's Susan Sarandon, right?
Oh, yeah, that's Susan Sarandon. No, like that actually is pretty accurate. That's
pretty accurate, but like it looked crazy, right? Look, this movie's not good, and like I'm gonna need y'all niggas to be like, yo, this is a good movie to start watching better movies, because and it's not because it's a Black director. I'm not trying to like big up white directors, because there are Black directors that are also amazing directors. This nigga is not a good director. He's just not. He isn't. He's not. He fucking sucks. Like, I can't. Like, he sucks, yo. It just pisses me off at this point. It was 21 years in, yeah. He hasn't gotten any better. He just put more money into it. That's it. That's my review. This movie sucks.
My biggest issue with this movie is dialogue, and
the acting is terrible.
And yeah, dialogue and how he's telling his actors to act. Like, God love Kerry Washington.
I know Ed Norris was supposed to be a villain, but like, yo, that nigga was like a foghorn leghorn.
Dean Norris.
Dean Norris, whatever his name. Ed Norris, what is that? Whatever. Yeah, that's the.
That's top cop from Baltimore.
He kind of looks like Dean Norris, but anyway. But anyway, like, he was a super villain. Like, again, white people are kind of villains, but it just. He sucks. I'm sorry. He just sucks.
I didn't mind that too much.
Black capitalism.
I didn't really like the love story in it.
Yeah, I didn't feel
I didn't really. I didn't really buy it. I didn't really buy it, and I think Jay made the comment about like Tyler Perry may not necessarily know what year this is.
Yo, we'll get to it. I was like, it juxtaposed to what happens later in the movie. It makes no sense. It's just fucking bizarre. It's really bizarre. Look, I think, to echo Micah's points, I think it's an incredibly important story to tell. 6888, I mean, those women deserve to be honored. They really do. What they did was actually absolutely incredible. Like, to do that much, to do what they did under the sort of the yoke of American racism, and we'll talk about like this movie and what happened to them is kind of a perfect microcosm of racism, not only back then but also today, or just American racism in general. I think everybody sort of that is shown, whether they're fictional characters representing people or what have you, deserve all the accolades in the world, right? Because it seems like, and I had this thought too, and I'll be very honest about it. I understand the role in which they played in the military and why it is important, but there's a part of me that cannot help but think, cool, we're doing a movie where a bunch of black women are doing something that is not really heroic, right? You know, it's just like you're sorting mail, which feels like a menial task, right? And even they feel like that when they get the assignment, right? But as it goes on, you do realize like the level of importance of keeping morale, keeping people connected, and it isn't. I mean, they're soldiers too, but like even if they weren't soldiers, just doing this is an act of service, right? Like so, it is an amazing thing in and of itself. All that being said, Tyler Perry is not a good writer. Fundamentally, he's not a good writer. He shoots very flatly, and we'll talk about that right at the beginning of this movie. But my biggest issue with him is he doesn't write well. And he's writing in a way that, like, he doesn't make the love story in this the bigger story than the sort of like what's happening in real time necessarily. But every time it switches to the love story, it is odd and it feels disjointed, and it like, is this the same movie? Like, this woman's having hallucinations about this like, it's just weird. It feels very like afternoon school special-ish in its style.
I think a lot of that. So this movie is the biggest low budget movie I've ever seen. And
yeah, no, that's
like,
a good way. That's a good way of saying it.
It still looks like you're shooting on a set. The CG, plane scenes look like CG plane scenes. The war, some of the on the ground, boots on the ground war stuff looks okay, but this movie, what was that Michael Bay movie, Pearl Harbor? Pearl Harbor was like a love story, but like with Pearl Harbor in the background. I think that's what this movie is trying to be, and just as good, because like I don't really care for Pearl Harbor, and that was bloated, and that had a ridiculous love story in it.
Yeah, it's three
set in front of set at the backdrop of World War II. Like that's what this kind of reminds me of, and I don't think it works, man. Like,
yeah,
I think if you're gonna make a war movie, make a movie about the war, or make a movie about what you're talking about here, and we don't necessarily need all the love story B plot. But maybe I don't know. Maybe that's
but that's his thing, right? Like I don't know that he is. I don't want to say capable because that feels overly insulting. But I think he's not really particularly interested in telling stories that are about a grander thing. He always has to find a way to kind of whittle it down to the thing that he knows, which is like these sort of pseudo romantic relationships and stuff. All right, fine. In the background is all this other stuff, but like he can't just tell that story, right? Like I don't think he writes in that way. I don't think he knows how to. Because when you're taking it out of the love story aspect and you're just making it about what's going on in the war or what is happening with this battalion, the writing is terrible. I just don't think he knows how to write that many characters interacting with each other very well. Like it's not his strong suit. I would argue writing isn't his strong suit anyway, but it becomes incredibly clear when you have to balance a lot of characters that don't have romantic interest. And to me, like that's why what's name works. Why Did I Get Married? That works because it is a bunch of people, but they all have interconnected relationships, right? So like he can just kind of focus on like the Tyler Perry character, the simp character he was playing, and his wife, or the cheating couple, and the Jill Scott and that piece of shit she was with. Like he can concentrate on those individually and then just kind of push them all together. This movie isn't his worst movie, and I like as much as I thought Kerry Washington is overacting like a lot in the movie. I got to tell you, I thought she did a pretty good job with that speech to Dean Norris in the end. I thought she did good. Kerry Washington, a very beautiful woman. I find her incredibly attractive. She's one of the ugliest criers I've ever seen in my entire life. She just is. She just is. She's got a real ugly cry. It's a real shame. But yeah, I don't need to ever see this movie again. It took way too long. It's 2 hours and 9 minutes. It felt like 4 days and 10 minutes. Like it's just
the pacing in this movie
ago and finished it today.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, the pacing in this movie is not done well. And one can make an argument that like the first the first 10-15 minutes of this movie is all establishing background for our main character, Ebony Obsidian's character, so that when her boyfriend or whatever dies, like, and that's her impetus to join the military, like, right, like, they fridged him, and which is fine. I don't really care, but at the same time, and I get it, right? You're trying to give this character layers. I get it.
You don't. Okay.
But it just, I don't know. I don't buy it.
It didn't work.
Yeah, it just, for some reason, it just didn't work.
It didn't work.
I mean,
and I think, and this woman is being directed to play, because like I've seen her in other stuff. I've seen her in Bill, if Beale Street Could Talk. Like, she can act, man. But like the way she's being told to perform, I don't know. I don't like meek women, and this is a meek character.
Thing, but that's his thing. You remember, like, what is it? Diary of a Mad Black Woman. He played that character meek as fuck. Like, because I remember that review, and you just yelled, "Be offended, women! Be offended!"
Yeah, I don't like meek women, and I get it, right? Like, you're supposed, maybe that's her arc, right? She's kind of meek and mousy, and then she eventually like stands up for herself at one point, I guess. I don't know, man, but I didn't really care for the character throughout the majority of the movie, and that's our POV character, man, and I don't, Anyway, look, let's get started, because like we're gonna this is a long ass movie.
By the way, she had an uncredited appearance in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So there you go.
It must have been. I don't remember her in that movie.
Exactly. All right, so 6888. So the film opens with a war scene, right? And look, I have to admit, this is December 1943. I have to admit, when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh shit, like Tyler Perry's doing a war picture. Like, really?
I feel like probably everybody thought that, and then they watched the movie. Like,
well, but here's the thing. I'm not saying that you have to reinvent the wheel. I'm not saying that you have to be a Steven Spielberg or a Steven Spielbergo, if you will. But if you're going to do a World War II scene, I'm going to need you to at least watch a movie that took place in World War II to learn about how soldiers fought in World War II. Apparently, in Tyler Perry's logic,
these niggas
they just ran at each other like it was the fucking Civil War. They have machine guns.
Yeah, this is like this was World War One in his eyes. Like, what the fuck? It was weird.
No, like they have machine guns. Like, that's not how they operated. Like, it's just very weird. They're just like running down a hill, like, I'll just shoot a machine gun at you. Like,
yeah,
they're a little bit more disciplined than that.
Bolt action rifles, yo. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's just very strange. I was like, have you ever seen? No, you've never seen any.
No, well, he has, because he put the World War II tint on these scenes. So he's seen a World War II movie before. The bluish tint, the bluish hue that they put in all those movies.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. That's how you know.
So he knows. That means it's a World War II movie.
You get sepia tone if it's Mexico, and the
Civil War / World War I tactics. All
right. Yeah, it's, and also like, because it's so flatly shot, And I don't want to be like too fucking overly pedantic about it, but like it's so flatly shot, and he doesn't kind of raise the camera so you can see the scope of the battle. He just has the planes flying, just giving fucking buzz cuts to the soldiers, like they're flying right over top of them, and it just makes the scene feel very small instead of making it feel much more grand, right? And then he eventually kind of pulls out, and he pulls back at one point. But it's just like the dude's running across a field, or just like being bombed. It's not.
Those planes are wild close to the ground,
right, yo.
Yo, they're like 10 feet above the like. I don't think okay, right?
Like when they got shot down, it was from on high. Not they weren't buzzing the battlefield shooting German soldiers. Like we're right in it. Like this isn't fucking Star Wars, bro. Like you don't have to. It's unnecessary. So yeah, it's just very strange.
Man.
Yeah, that's how you drop a bomb, like a crop duster. You gotta get that
like these niggas slower than crop dusters, bro. They were literally like 10 feet above the ground.
Like, oh shit, here they come. Okay. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of this war scene. I think it was quite silly. But we do see a pilot. His plane goes down. He dies. And another like private in the military pulls his body out of the wreckage, and he sees a letter in the guy's like jacket or whatever, like a bloody letter, clearly a letter home or something like that. So the soldier's upset that his compatriot died, but he takes the letter. He takes the letter with him.
Boy, he was real upset. It's like, come on, like what the fuck? Like, get that
you have
letter
no
and roll
connection
out.
to this person. You have no connection.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just weird.
Again, like you're in the middle of warfare. Like you don't have time to sit there and rock back and forth. If it was your buddy that you've been like in the trenches with for months on end, like okay, that's a normal response, I guess. But like,
so was that supposed to be Abram?
Yeah, that's Abram.
That's the one that blew up in the
when it blew up.
Yeah, that's Abram. Yeah.
Okay.
So you didn't even know. you watched the whole fucking movie and didn't even.
I was like, wait a minute. I recognize that bloody letter. Smash cut to I guess a year before. It's 1942, and everything's fine. Black people and white people just hanging out together, going to school, no problem. I guess. What the fuck? So we see.
That's Pennsylvania. Were the schools integrated in Pennsylvania? In 1942?
Yes, I mean they got niggas just coming out of the school next to white people. So yes,
maybe.
I mean they didn't like each other, right? Like
I felt like she ain't fuck with her. I felt like she ain't fuck with her just because she was trying to get her man. Like
that's because she was a racist, right? Because
she probably a little bit both.
At the dinner party, she said something like, I'm glad you're in a position where you need to be or whatever, serving me or some shit.
Oh yeah, I mean they were all racist back then.
It was 1942, like of course.
Yeah, yeah, and it was Philadelphia. Like let's not forget that.
Man. Trash city. So you see her walk out. Her name is Lena Derricott Bell King. By the way, that is a real person, and she's featured at the end of the movie, I believe.
Yeah, she died last year, 2024. She was 100.
Hey man, that's a long time. That's too long.
There you go, black man. All you got to do is time for white men, and you can live to be 100.
Yeah. No, it's because she married a black man, and she was like, "I'm going to stay alive forever." That dude probably died at 55. Heart disease to go to the doctors and shit. She gonna live on another 54 years. It's fucked up. See what black men aren't protected. So not even on their own shit. So. You see Lena. She's walking out of high school, and these white women are like kind of scowling at her or whatever. And then this one white chick is trying to block her from getting to, I guess, her boyfriend, who is a Jewish gentleman named Abram, and they give her a fucking juke, and they get in the car and they drive off, and then this black woman is riding around in the back of this white man's car, waving at black people, waving at white people in 1942. And nobody got hung from a tree because apparently in Tyler Perry's eyes, everything was fine in 1942. And I just cannot understand. These black people are like, okay. I mean, I guess that's what's happening. White people are like, no, stay on target, son. Like, what the fuck? It's just like this really bizarre view of the world in 1942, even though the movie deals with race a ton. After this, it's bizarre. Like they got white people walking.
Maybe this particular town in Pennsylvania was perfectly fine with interracial relationships.
Sure.
No, I don't know. Bloomfield, Pennsylvania. Look it up. I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe they were very progressive 100 years ago.
Maybe it was. It's like Columbia, Maryland, right? It was made for everyone to come together, right?
Yeah,
racial harmony.
And they all had coexist bumper stickers on.
Yeah, it was all fine. Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, I listened to the nightly news about the war," and everybody is fucking super happy, right? And again, they're talking to each other on the street, and no one is attacking them, which I find to be remarkable.
Well, he's Jewish, so
and
maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, they should be attacking both of them.
Right? Like, still not cool with racial mixing. Your face is still white enough, okay? Like, it's so funny. For the first like 15 minutes of this movie as it's on, and I had sent you guys this message about like, what the fuck year is it in this movie? Like, is it 1985? All I was doing is reading on my phone of what race relations were like between black people and Jewish people of this time. I'm like, I can't believe that this is even remotely accurate. They're like, I mean, they kind of got along, but like, not really. Like, a lot of issues. He pulls up to her house, drops her off. Her mom is like, hey, how's it going? Again, he's white. What the fuck are we talking about? Like, you're putting your daughter in danger. Like, it's very bizarre. So Lena goes into the house with her mom, and like, is it her mom's friend or her aunt?
I thought that was her grandmother.
That was her grandmother.
Is it? Okay, they both look kind of like the same age to me. They both look much. They don't look that different.
Well, I figured it would be the difference would be that the grandmother was talking like, "Oh Lord Jesus, there's a fire. Oh Lord, what you going to deal with the white man? What you do? You need to stop all that schooling and get and learn how to be a housewife."
Okay, fair enough. Oh, good God. So she decides like, all right, I'm gonna go. They got to work this party later that night for these white people, and it just happens to be this like these rich Jewish folks in Philadelphia, and Abram is there, and she's serving hors d'oeuvres, and that shitty white woman shitty white girl from school is there. She's like, yeah, you should be serving us. Yeah, that's right. And so Abram is like, hey, let me go out back. Let me holler at you for a second. And he kind of professes his love for her in so many words, and he gives her a kiss, and it's all very very cute. And then her mom sees it, and her response isn't, hey, you're putting my black daughter's life in danger because it's 1942. What the fuck are you doing? She was like, if you want to court my daughter, you come to my house and ask like a gentleman, which again, is a very odd response to an interracial couple in 1942. And he's like, I will do that right after I get back from the war. No,
it was at that point.
Yeah, that was the nigga in the plane. I got it. Thanks.
Wow. Oh well.
It's like that.
To be you, bro.
It's like that clip from that Spider-Man cartoon. Don't worry, Spider-Man. I won't tell your secret identity. And it fucking pulls out, and it's like a terminal, like a hospital for terminal cancer. Like, god damn. Like, who wrote that? You fucking piece of shit.
Is that real?
I'm pretty sure
I
that's
don't
really
remember
the cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, that's one of the wildest things I've ever seen in a cartoon. Yeah.
They
Like, I
just
know
really
you
did.
won't.
I mean, this is the same cartoon that like had Mary Jane jump out of a building because she knew that Spider-Man would save her. Like, what the fuck? Like, what if I wasn't here? I knew you would be here. What the fuck?
And what kind of, that's the world's biggest red flag, Mary Jane. You fucking psycho. Okay. Abram goes off to World War II. He becomes a pilot. Lena is at home pining for him. She hasn't received any letters.
Meanwhile, a mother from West Virginia waits daily for news from her 2 sons serving overseas.
Yeah, she's standing outside of the White House, which is really weird.
The first scene is her,
Oh.
getting the mail, and it's not there. And then we cut to when they start putting rings in Cracker Jack boxes. That's what the grandmother said.
Is it the grandmother or is it like? Is she?
Maybe it's an aunt. Maybe
I don't even know at this point.
Maybe they're in a relationship. Maybe it's a lesbian relationship.
Maybe this is super. Hey, it's super
Look, this is-
progressive Philadelphia in the 1940s.
Right. This is her two. She's the only black girl on the block with 2 moms in her interracial relationship that she's in with a Jewish boy in 1942. Everything's fine. Yeah, this is like the man in the high tower, right?
Oh, well, she says her husband been going longer than that. Such and such and such and so on.
Oh, right. She does.
This is a really nice house, by the way. This house is really, really nice.
Yeah.
What does the mom do?
She works.
Like, it's a massive house.
She's a caterer.
Yeah, she's like bringing
she caters for Jewish events.
Yeah.
No Jews throw that money around.
No, they don't.
They're known for throwing money around, right? Breaking every other stereotype in this movie. Like, let's
yeah, it's alternative history, man. I'm telling you. So eventually, they get a letter saying that Abram was killed in the war, and obviously that is devastating to Lena. She just completely loses it, which is weird, right? Because the whole premise of this movie is about how people don't get letters about how their significant others are doing. And her entire
she's not even his significant other. First of all, she's not his significant other. How the fuck did she get the letter? Where are his parents?
Right. They said Mr. David brought it over there for him. So I guess Abram's parents. Exactly. I guess that's Abram's dad. I guess I don't know.
Okay. But again, it goes against the entire point of the movie of letters are not getting through to people, which is the entire he dies, and so she has this impetus to go join the war. But a letter somehow got to them to let them know that he died. This is really weird. I don't know that's how it really happened. This is interesting to me.
I give this a pass just because I feel like someone being killed in action is far more important to get back home than
I hope so.
It is, hey, I miss you. War is hell. I don't want to die.
I think the issue was they weren't the soldiers weren't getting mail from people.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so that's still the people that were dying on the front, they were getting those letters back. Right.
Yeah.
But then the mother wasn't getting letters from, the mother.
West Virginia,
she wasn't getting letters for her 2 children. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So this is a writing issue. This is a writing issue because it's an inconsistency. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't really make sense. What you should have said is you shouldn't have had Mr. David. No, yeah, I know you're working overtime. I hear you. Good for you. No, what they should have done, which is what happens in the military, is they have someone come to your house, and it's to deliver this message. Come to his parents' house and say that, and then the dad comes over and tells her. That would have made sense, and then it wouldn't have been this like weird letter thing, right? Like it didn't make sense. But whatever. So
did she get a letter for? Did Mr. David write the letter for them? Whoever the fuck Mr. David is?
Maybe Mr. David is like a racist, but knows that his son, fell into that black tar and really liked it. So he was like, all right, well, I can at least give these Negroes let them know, but I'm not going to their house, right? I'm not going to their side I'm not going to Center City or wherever the fuck they live at. I'm going to let them know via telegram. Maybe that was it. The fact that we're doing this,
filling in a lot of blanks, my nigga.
Right. The fact that we're playing Mad Libs with this movie means that this is not a well-written movie.
I like the idea that Mr. David was like, "Oh shit, my son got killed. Oh, I'm not telling now. I'll write them a letter. Abram is dead. Don't come over here." Like, all right.
Right. Don't come over here no more.
We busy. So she sees that there is a woman's army corps, right? And that they are helping with the war effort as well. They're going over there to quote unquote fight Hitler. And so she's like, this is my opportunity to, do right by my man and like go over there and get revenge. I don't know what the general logic is, but like, I'm going to fight for my country. Like, he got murdered. Okay. Why are you going? And so it's kind of smash cut to her getting on the train, going down to basic training, in boot camp. And look, she meets 4 other black women, and things are, everybody is like, here's different kinds of personalities. Oh, are they all different? You got the southern thicker gal who don't take no shit and says whatever the fuck she wants. You got the
who joined the army to get fucked.
I mean, she basically said that. Like,
she was like, I want some men. I want some dick.
And look, at the same time, I was like,
there's no other way as a woman that I can get some dick than to join the military. What the fuck?
Oh, you live in the world.
She was also in a relationship in a fucked up relationship.
Yeah, an abusive
back in the States. Yeah, so there was that.
All right, yeah, all right. I'll give you that. Like, enlist to get away. All right, that's fine.
And then you get like a highly religious one. You get another one who is clearly who could pass, and she's asked to separate.
Mulattoes not like this is 42, so we can call them mulattoes, right?
They call her that one woman calls her mulatto. They're like, you can't say that. I was like, oh, did I go out of style in 41?
Right, like the fuck are you talking about, Tyler? Like, this is 1942. Yo.
They were 100% calling people mulatto.
Again, 100. Come on, man.
Well, maybe she's from that same progressive town, and she's like, whoa, we don't say that.
We don't say that around here.
She's like, we all have white boyfriends and 2 moms. We live in a very progressive town in 1942. Everybody knows this. No mulattoes here. So those are kind of like her friends that she kind of rolls with throughout the rest of the movie. They get off a train. They get over to the base, and they're left on the truck, and they're wearing their like Sunday best, and some like shitty military guy is like, all right, get your ass off the train. And like, I got a dress on, dog. Like, what's happening? And of course the brothers on the base are like, hey, let me help you. And so she meets this one dude who looks like
not Lorenz Tate.
Not Lorenz Tate, or I was gonna say what was it? What was that? Was that dude we did that one movie from Beyond the Lights? What's his face? Nate Turner.
Oh yeah, Nate Parker.
Nate Parker.
He does look.
He played Nat Turner at one point.
Yeah, he did.
And so, he meets her, and he can't stop looking at her, even when he's like walking away. He's like checking around. It's like, okay, he'll be back later. So they're all
wild. Niggas were wild in the 40s too, yo. He was like, yo, I was about to get married, but like, now that I seen you, fuck that bitch.
And he's saying,
He's like, you tell me something about yourself, and I'll tell you something about me. He's like, I was gonna get married till I met you. I'm like, nigga, what the fuck? Like, what is that? Like, why would that? Nigga,
why you going 0 to 60 on fucking day one? Relax.
Like, why would you tell her that?
Why would you tell her that? Because like the next time you see another fine ass woman, then what's gonna happen?
Right. And it's so funny because that is like one of those stories like old people tell. Oh, I met your grandfather and he was engaged to some woman and then he met me and he broke it off. I'm like, Grandma, that nigga's a cheater. And this nigga's a cheater. Don't trust him. What the fuck?
Crazy.
I don't know.
Oh man.
Oh, stand up for yourself, Grandma. On the first, like basically your first time hanging out with her.
Well, no, that was at the dance when he told me.
But that's the first time they hung out though. Like he was just like, hey, the other times, like,
how you doing?
I just broke up with my fiance. Nigga, just break up with your fiance and just move the fuck on. She don't never need to know that shit. Who cares? A lot of them. So, you know, it's all like the fucking classic boot camp shit. Oh, we'll hear them getting their fucking measles shots or whatever, and hear them putting on the uniforms. But I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this scene, which is the thicker gal. She comes out because she's like, yeah, this uniform don't work because I got titties. This is Martha and May. You got breasts because they're not that big, but I got titties.
Like, I was like, look, breasts. He's like, them little things you got called breasts. I got titties. Like,
and you know what?
You did.
I was like, what's the tone of this movie, yo? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
He had to throw his fucking Tyler Perryisms in that motherfucker. I'm like, all right.
I mean, in fairness, I found her
as a Medea-ism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I ain't got no problem looking at
I'm here for the men. I'm like, I bet you are. And I bet they like.
But like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just so used to like movies about World War II being a little more like straight laced, and maybe that's a me thing. But you know,
he's got to throw some kind of humor somewhere in there.
Yeah, what's the tone of this movie, yo?
It's a bit all over the place in some parts. I mean, it gets serious for a while, and then but like this beginning. The beginning feels more in the goofball ways of like how Full Metal Jacket was kind of funny in the beginning, like some parts of it. And then it got super serious and you're like, what is happening? These are like two completely different movies. But this is, bad. Like that's the major difference. So they all finally get their uniforms and they meet Kerry Washington's character, Chastity Adams, I believe it is. Yeah. Or she's Charity. Major Charity, or she's not a major at this point, but Charity Adams. She's a lieutenant when they meet her at first. And look, I think Kerry Washington is doing her level best at playing this sort of tough as nails lieutenant. She's fine.
Oh, I thought you were about to say trying to save this movie. But go. I'm sorry.
I mean, I guess she is. She doesn't. That is a fruitless task, I would argue. But she's the best one in the movie. She by far the best. By far.
I like watching her in the movie, and she's kind of a scene stealer, which is to be expected. I think she's the most accomplished actor in the whole movie. I mean, she's on the cover, right? She gets the best scenes. She's not like the point of view character, but I think I didn't mind her in this movie. She did kind of save this movie for me. There's a lot.
That last speech was good. That last speech she delivered was fucking dope. It was.
And she's I think she's laying it on a little thick. But she's not doing anything that any other, drill sergeant in a movie wouldn't be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, laying it on thick is kind of the drill sergeant thing, right? Like, they're supposed to be almost completely unlikable to a degree, right? Like, they're supposed to be hard asses. I feel like I would have I would have liked to see a different actor though. Like, if I mean, I don't think the age necessarily works, but like I feel like a Viola Davis would have fucking crushed that scene. Like every bit of this role, like she would have. I mean, she would have been given next to nothing of value to work with, but I think she would have done really, really well with that particular role. But yeah, I thought Kerry Washington was serviceable. I really did. I didn't have much of a problem with her at all. We cut to Eleanor Roosevelt coming back into the White House, and there's just like a white woman standing outside the White House. People, it's hard to imagine like, oh, this is like a person waiting to talk to the first lady. Yeah, that would never happen now. Like, what the fuck? Like, shoot her immediately. Get away from the president, right? Like, but back in the day, you could call the White House and speak to the president, like decades ago. Like,
yeah, because like they work for you,
right?
Allegedly.
Yeah, like you could call and talk to like Lyndon Johnson, like, hey, it's like, what's up? What'd you need? Like, that's fucking weird, like 1-800-president. Like, it's just fucking true. And so, yeah, you got Susan Sarandon as Eleanor Roosevelt, and she looks crazy and dirty and weird, and that's kind of what Eleanor Roosevelt looked like.
Yeah, I'm looking at Google images of Eleanor Roosevelt. It's not that far off.
No, yeah, that casting's actually pretty solid. Like the way she looks and it's not bad. Eleanor Roosevelt, actually a really good person, like legitimately a very good person in history, and she pushed her husband in ways that he definitely needed to be pushed. And I believe after he cheated on her for like the 1,000th time, she was like, I'm never sleeping in a bed with that asshole ever again. And she never did. That's how many times he cheated on her. Wheelchair and all. Dude just could not stop getting
You know what casting was not very good? Sam Waterston is fucking
Sam Waterston.
Nigga, that was the worst. Yo. That's
like, what the fuck is going on right now?
I hated it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. No, I 100% hated that. Like FDR is my favorite president historically, and I was like, "What? Like, who is this? What? Why is he there? Where's FDR?" No, that was terrible casting. Shit, Bill Murray did a better job as FDR in that one movie. Actually, it was very good. So yeah, we. I
mean, Roosevelt, he had like 12 years to get shit done.
Yeah, he did. That's why he got a lot of shit done.
That's why everybody loves that motherfucker, because he was in there for fucking a decade.
Yeah, and he was kicking the shit out of everybody. Yeah, he did great. And then he had that little hiccup about the whole Japanese thing. Oops. Yeah, he probably shouldn't have done that. Probably shouldn't have. So anyway, we see them going through, boot camp, and for some reason they got Ebony Obsidian wearing an extra sweater, and they're like, "Why are you having such a hard time?" I don't know, man. It's hot. It's 1,000 fucking degrees out here, and I'm doing jumping jacks in my Sunday's best. And she almost gives up, and you get the classic moment of them struggling and shit. I don't know why she's struggling to do the army crawl. That's like the easiest thing, I feel like, not like scaling a wall, but she almost gives up on that. She eventually gets it together. Eleanor Roosevelt, for all her good deeds, didn't remember that this poor woman has been standing outside for like 3 days, and she's like, "Oh, she's still out there? All right, let's go out there and talk to her." Like in the middle of the rain, like she been out there a whole fucking 2 days before you got there.
Yeah, and she go wait till the rain let up. She can wait till the rain. Old Jasper over there got a old Farnsworth Bentley over there. Got to give the Farnsworth. Give her your umbrella. Like, bitch, god damn it! Like, we can't wait till the monsoon lets up.
That white woman is fine. She'll be all right. She got a hat on. But this
like
woman
she need to shower.
Yeah, I mean, Eleanor.
She probably did.
Anyway, but she basically is like, "Hey, I've got family. My sons, or my son or my husband or whoever is overseas, and I haven't heard from them." And Eleanor Roosevelt's like, "You should write to them." Like, bitch, I did. Like, tell me some shit I already know. And She's like, they're not getting the letters and I'm not getting anything from them. And it's happening all over the country. And Eleanor Roosevelt is like, all right, it's cold out here. Let's go inside and talk. Why the fuck am I standing out talking to your poor ass outside in the rain? This is crazy.
Exactly. Poor. No, don't even cross the gate.
Yeah, this is like, ugh. Poke her with a stick. Get out of here. Get out of here. So she's like, all right, come on inside into the White House and tell me all about it. And so she's like, all right, I will. We get more fucking who cares fucking bullshit. like they're still in boot camp, right? At one point they do the gas chamber thing, to test if you're smart enough to put a mask on your face. Terrence, you were in the military at one point. Did you guys have to do the gas mask thing?
I didn't do that. I was in the Coast Guard. I didn't have to do that.
Oh, they didn't make you do that? I'm surprised. What's weird about that scene is everybody else has the mask already out, but our hero, hers is in the bag. And so they throw the whatever, noxious gas in it. She's like, oh, I got to get it out of my bag and take my head off. Everybody else was like immediately like, let's go. You didn't think to just copy your neighbor?
Moron. What the fuck are you? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's the meekness that's really annoying. I agree with Mike.
I can't.
She's like, oh, I'm going to put on the mask. Oh, I forgot my hat. All right. Smart. Very smart. So she starts freaking out. She comes out. She's coughing and she's got the mask on. She can barely breathe. And some white man comes and snaps a picture of her.
She's seeing visions. She's seeing visions of Abram and shit.
Yeah.
Again, these visions was kind of pissing me off. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is like? Come on, man.
Very strange.
I don't really give a fuck about this nigga, yo. I mean, I get it. That's your love.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right.
I just don't care about this man, yo.
It just didn't. I didn't buy that relationship, and it's a through.
You didn't
line.
establish it well enough, right? And it's a through line through this whole 2 hour and 9 minute movie, where she keeps seeing this nigga, and I'm like, yo, we saw this dude for 5 minutes in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, there's no love connection. There's love connection, but there's no connection for us.
He's back in
as thank you, but not anymore.
Like he's going.
Good. Chuck Woolery turned out to be a real piece of shit in his old age.
Garbage, right?
Oh, who cares? So yeah, there's no connection between the audience and him. I don't feel anything for that character whatsoever. What's interesting is, like, I'm thinking back to the movie Origin, where John Barenthal played Ingenue Ellis Taylor's husband, right? Like, he's not in it that much, but they made the connection between them matter so much that when he died, you were like, oh shit, like, you actually gave a fuck that he died. And this is like, you killed him
first of all,
you even met him.
It was John Barenthal. And
that's true.
That nigga's like a leading man. So like when he died 20 minutes into the movie, I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Oh, well.
Right, that's true.
Okay.
But like,
and also, they did kind of like, he was too perfect also in that movie.
Yeah, he was.
Come on.
But like, they killed Abram before we even met anybody in the story. Right? Like, I don't know why.
We met the racist white woman because it was 1942. And then they drove in a car and then he was dead.
No, but he died. But he died before we.
Well, he died in the very beginning of the
movie. Right. He died before we met him. Yeah. So it's just like, oh, and then it's like, oh, right. Like, to me,
right. He dies and then there's a flashback like a year and a half or whatever.
Right. Like, I don't understand what the artistic choice was, because it actually deadens your connection to him, because you already know what's going to happen to him. Like, if he went off to war and you didn't know that he was going to die, right? Like, you could probably guess, but like, if you didn't know definitively, you'd have a little bit more of a like, oh fuck, okay, nothing. That artistic choice of doing the death first or whatever. It doesn't actually make.
It's really dumb, because the most important piece of that death scene is the letter. And that's like the letter is basically is like the tipping point. This the whole thing about this movie, right? Like, they weren't getting mail. That's the whole point of this movie. Like, we had the black woman got sorted all this mail out, but then he wanted to throw this love story in to give her the motivation to do this. she wasn't. Her whole thing was, my boyfriend's dead. I want to fight Hitler. That's what she said.
Right.
And she ends up doing this whole mail thing, which, again, an amazing feat. But for a movie, it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't like it doesn't.
Right. It's not like they knew about the job about the mail ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really funny. It would have been far more just logically of heavier weight if he left and she was just inquiring, maybe not going to the White House necessarily, but like trying to figure out what the fuck, why am I not hearing anything? Why am I not hearing anything? Why am I not hearing anything? Right? Like maybe you don't even have it reported back that he died. Right? Like maybe that's, she doesn't find that out until she goes there or something like that. Right? Like then you have this heavier weight. Like his reveal of death should be her pining for this guy, and then finding out he died. Instead, it was like, hey, welcome to the movie.
Yeah,
he's
the
dead,
reason
and then pine, and then you're moving on. Like
the reason she joins the military would make more sense if she didn't know he was dead, and she was like, I got to join the military to find him.
Right. And people,
but
that's not
right. People, right? Like people do that, right? Like, but she's like, he's dead. I want to join the military to find his dead body. Like, it doesn't.
Right. No, she said she wanted to join the military to fight Hitler
because Hitler killed her man. That's why.
Because Hitler killed her boyfriend.
Hitler killed my future boyfriend. So that motherfucker's got to pay.
All right. That's fucking dumb.
Can't just find another white guy.
Well, she is an 18-year-old child at this point.
Yeah, she don't seem to be making smart decisions like keeping a gas mask in her bag while literally everyone else has it out in their hands.
Very strange. Very, very.
Yeah, it's very. Again, this movie's not good.
I cannot express to you how disappointed I find this FDR casting. I really. It's fucking ridiculous.
Sam Waterston playing Sam Waterston is basically what.
And look, I like Sam Waterston a lot, but like, no, this is terrible casting. It's really bad. I'm not mad at Oprah Winfrey playing Mary McLeod Bethune. That's perfectly fine to me. Oprah kind of loves playing like major historical black women, so like, you know what? She is a major historical black woman, so fuck it. That's fine. What's interesting is like they show the scene where basically you got FDR, if you want to call him that, FDR, Eleanor Roosevelt, Mary McLeod Bethune, and these two white generals discussing this issue of the mail backup, right? Because Eleanor Roosevelt clearly brought it to her husband's attention because a woman was standing outside of the White House in the rain. And if you do a little bit of reading, and it is fascinating. I would charge people to do this. Reading up about Mary McLeod Bethune's relationship with Eleanor Roosevelt is fucking fascinating. Like they were legitimately quite close, like very, very close friends. And like Eleanor Roosevelt really kind of did do a lot to like help push like policies and shit to help black people. She really fucking did. And she absolutely did not fucking have to. And FDR, for all of his fucking bullshit, like personal weirdness, he did do a lot. So, credit where credit's due. And basically, Mary McLeod Bethune was like, listen, there's these black women in the Women's Army Corps that y'all not doing anything with. Why don't you have them handle this mail issue? And Dean Norris's character is like, no, we already tried the broads before. She's like, the white ones. Like, get the fuck out of here. They stink. And let the black chicks do it. And basically, FDR was like, yeah, no, you're gonna fucking do that. Like, knock it off. We're gonna make this happen. And I don't think Dean Norris has been this mad since he found out that Bryan Cranston was selling meth in Arizona. He was Heisenberg. Like that dude does a really good like piece of shit face. Like he mad about everything. His uniform's a little too tight. Yeah, I get it. I'd be angry too. So yeah, they basically are like, yeah, we're gonna let this black woman battalion try to handle this male because nobody else seems to be able to do it. The smash cut back to Europe, not to Europe, but back to the base. I think they're in Georgia. The one dude is like, hey, yeah, I'm a ditch my fiance and hang out with you. Is that cool? And she's like, what? No, nigga, get out of here. You fucking weirdo. You smooth talking ass dude. He's like, can I just sit next to you then? Touch your leg, maybe? She's like, all right. You touch my leg. So then we see a bunch of white officers being really shitty to Kerry Washington. And for some reason, she's not allowed to throat punch them. But you know, I guess they're not in that really fancy town in Pennsylvania. That's everybody is lovely and happy. Real race relations are happening here, which is weird. I guess in 1942. So
it's Georgia. So
in Pennsylvania,
literally could have taken place
it was up
anywhere.
north.
Yeah,
everybody was happy people.
Dancing.
The South, the South is still. I feel like the South is still like this. 2024.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, they're watching the movie and they called her a nigger because they was in a movie theater.
Yeah,
and and she's above them in rank also.
Yeah, she's a fucking lieutenant.
Fucked up. Right.
Yeah.
She's a captain.
Or is she a captain at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. And then she becomes a major later on. So they eventually bring her over to Europe and they're like, all right, you will be sorting the mail. And Dean Norris is like, yep, here's all your fucking orders. I don't like blacks. I don't like black women. I'm going to give you the shittiest fucking barracks possible. I'm going to make your life a living hell. And you're going to like
we're going to make your life a living hell so you don't get this task that we really want to get done. What the fuck? I didn't understand.
Yeah, that's how racism works.
And everything.
And
I get it. But
that's backwards racism is.
And that's exactly why I said earlier on that this movie is a microcosm for American racism. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself. Why would you do that? Hey, why don't we screw the black people out? Why?
Yeah.
And all the white guys are like, yeah, we're high-fiving each other. Yeah, we're fucking up the military. Okay. That
we're fucking up the morale overseas because
we sure did own the libs.
Yeah. No, that's quite literally it, right?
Idiot.
As long as you can make these black people feel bad, these black women very specifically feel bad, and show that they're quote unquote incompetent by making things harder, somehow you win. But the mail still doesn't get fucking sorted, dude. Like, okay.
That is so stupid.
That's backwards.
It really is. It doesn't make no sense. What also doesn't make any sense is Lena is having these weird thoughts about Abram. He's like hugging up on her on a ship where everybody is throwing up and getting sick. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for us." Okay. We're throwing up in the other room. Could you get done with your daydreams there, lady? They sent all the troops in this battalion over to Europe in a ship with no escorts. Like, no military ships escorted this ship. And in reality, they had several run-ins with German U-boats on their way to Europe, but they had to do evasive maneuvers so that they wouldn't be destroyed because they had no support. Again, why would you train all of these black women with all of this time and effort in the U.S. military to then not protect them so that if that ship goes down, 855, I think it was, women would die? And all of that training and all of that knowledge and everything else.
That's a waste of fucking money.
Right.
At the very least, like, if you don't care about them, like, you spent a lot of money to train them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
racism is, man. I've always said this. I don't give a fuck how accomplished somebody is. If you're a racist, you're not that smart. You can't be. Like, this shit doesn't make any sense. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's very weird to me. So we see Major Adams at this point over in Europe with her other, like, with her NCO, I believe it is, and so they're over there and they're like, oh, kind of, they're drinking a little bit and they're kind of laughing it up. This is like where you see a little bit of like vulnerability, and they get a little drunk, and they go over to where all the mail is stored, and they're like, all right, show us where the mail is, like, because they haven't seen it, and they see this hanger full of these bags of mail, and they're like, yeah, this is how full all the hangers are that have the mail. And she's like, all right, well, how many are there? It's like, all of the hangers, all of them. And it's a lot. It's what, 16 million pieces of mail?
17
million? It's a lot of fucking mail, dude.
Like, that's a lot of fucking mail, bro. Like, that's a lot.
That's insane.
They're like, you want me to do what? In 6 months? Okay. I mean, I guess. What the fuck? I'd have been like, I want to go home.
It's cold here.
I don't like these white people that much. Fuck them. For real. Like, treating us like shit. But yeah.
Fair enough. So they eventually get there. They're in where are they? They're in Glasgow, I believe.
He actually did. He did on location shooting. He went to Europe to shoot. So kudos to him.
Yeah, good for him.
Sure.
Shocked.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't do it at Tyler Perryville.
Tyler Perryville.
Yeah, like, quite literally. Like, I'm actually amazed.
Yeah. No, I am too. Like,
So I'll give him credit for that. I mean, the movie's still not good, but I'll give him credit for actually shooting on location.
I mean, but it really does go to help make the movie look better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when they're driving around in those streets and stuff like that, like, it really does help the movie. Because, like, we've seen
visually.
Because, like, we've seen he don't have a visual eye, yo. So not a good one in my opinion. So
no,
that's why his strength
that's a fact.
is.
That's not your opinion. That's a fact.
Right. That's why his strength is. So his strength needs to be in, cultivating relationships and dialogue between the characters in those relationships.
Failed at that also in this movie.
Right. Like,
miserably. So, this movie's not good. Like, again, someone's going to have to change my mind.
No.
They're going to have to sit. Someone's going to have to sit me down and explain to me why the fuck they think this was a good movie. For real.
They don't have to do that.
I would like to see someone try. I'd be open to it. I would. I really would.
No, he wouldn't. Narrator voice. He was not, in fact, open to it.
Really
at all.
was not.
Right now. So Kerry Washington delivers this speech about, the reason they're doing this mail sorting is actually quite important, because this is about morale. This is about, if the troops aren't hearing from their spouses and their loved ones back at home, and vice versa, people get depressed. And that's very true. Like, that's a real thing. I can only imagine, being at war for a year and not hearing from your parents or your wife or your husband or whatever. So yeah, it's a very important thing. And by the way, she also mentions that, you're taking care of care packages to our exhausted soldiers on the front lines. And you got to make sure that their families know that they're safe or that they died. So the letters about them dying are clearly also maybe not getting through, but only Abrams is getting through. I don't know. Very inconsistent. This is a writing.
He's got
Some
those
random
connections.
dude.
He's got those connections.
He's got.
It's a little bit of a cabal. Yeah. No one's been treated more easily than Jewish people in the U.S. military as well, as you know. So so they get to work, and they've got to like clean up this horrendous place that they've been given to live. It's like an old church or some shit like that, or a building with a church in it. And they're like, all right, let's fucking clean shit up. Let's get to work. And they do. And everything is like going pretty good. They're fucking sorting the shit out of everything, and then they send like 50,000 or 57,000 letters out. They organize and send them out, and pretty much all of them get rejected as return to sender. Like they could not be delivered. And so they have to devise a new plan of how to understand, what we need to do to basically track the soldiers, because the U.S. military isn't really giving them any help on how to actually do this, because the troops are moving around because it's a war. And how the fuck are you supposed to deliver something to somebody when you're not allowed to know certain information either, right? Like the military is literally setting them up for failure to screw over themselves, which makes fucking zero sense. I don't get it. White people are weird. They eventually find the letter from Abram, and they give it to Lena. And everybody feels bad for her friends, and even the one chick who gives her a hard time. Even she was like, yeah, my bad. Sorry about that. I was wilding. And then you see Major Adams comes in, and she's like, Lena's like, oh, I know I'm a disappointment because I'm just a meek woman, and I'm soft. I know
you don't like me.
Like, who says I got to like you? And then it just goes into that, which I would have loved. That would have been awesome. Yeah, it's the meekness is really annoying, and so she's like, I do like you, which is literally a thing that would never come out of that woman's mouth in reality. She'd be like, just get back to fucking work. Like, knock it off. We can be friends when all this shit's over. She's like, no, I like you. I respect you. Why? And so she's like, look, you now I understand you are a face of this problem.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. All this. I mean, I'm on my phone at this point. Like I none of this is doing anything for me, yo.
It's the montage.
I hate it. I hate it. Like this is the doldrums.
Yeah, I know it is.
The other day.
It is.
This is the part where I was an hour or so into it, and I was like, okay, all right.
And it's not like it's not that I don't have an attention span. It's just that like I don't care, yo. I don't. The movie failed to make me care about.
That's what I'm saying, yo. This is not a good movie, dog. Like all three of us were like, okay, what is this? 209? Like I finished it today, and I was looking at the time. I'm like, okay, I got 20 minutes because I was like subtracting the 10 minutes that the.
Oh, dude, that's how I know a movie's not good, because I look at the time. I'm like, all right, it's not really 30 minutes. It's only 20 minutes. And I'm like
28 minutes. It's like it's only 22 minutes left. I was literally looking at, I was about an hour and 20 minutes in. I'm like, all right, technically this is really like 30 minutes left because it's 10 minutes of credits. And I kept looking, like every 5 minutes I was looking like, yo, can this fucking movie hurry up? Yo, I skipped the fucking swing dancing joint. Like, okay, this is just going to be a dancing scene. Skip. I don't care. Like, I don't give a fuck. I was just like, yo, hurry up, please. I gotta go.
This part is a bit of a slog. And by this part, I mean the whole movie. And so they're at a dance. They have a little Negro dance going on, and a chaplain comes, and he's like, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm Chapel Clemens, like this white man. And she's like, okay, cool. And then another white man comes in while they're working the next day, and he yells at the one woman who's just there for the men. And he treats her like shit. And he was like, are you stupid? Y'all all stupid, blah, blah, blah. And like, he was just loud and wrong. Like, he was just shitting on them because they couldn't tell where a letter went, even though all the numbers were like barely visible. Okay.
Right.
Again, are you just getting your like your jollies off by just shitting on black women? Is that your thing? Like, you're being weird, man.
That was it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
That was literally.
Yeah, and then that same guy will then go back home and jerk off thinking about black women because secretly that's what he wants, like because he's just a fucking repressed weirdo. I don't know, man. Just like go talk to people like normal, you fucking giant dickhead. Then in church, this scene, I was like, are you allowed to fight a chaplain in church? Because I feel like you should be able to. This dude was wilding, yo. This dude was wild. Yeah, the chaplain is like, you're being run by an evil woman. Like, and he's just like, he's just saying, he's not even saying the quiet, like the loud, like the quiet part loud. He's just saying the shit. He's like, yeah, Abrams, that piece of shit sitting right over there. Like, God damn, nigga, you at the point? And he's just being a real fucking piece of shit. And he's like telling him how terrible she is and she doesn't deserve to, she's not capable in the eyes of the army and, she's not qualified morally in the eyes of the Lord. I'm like, all right, like this nigga needs to get fucking drop kicked in the whatever part is supposed to be a neck of his.
Was he wearing a fat suit?
No. I mean,
no, he was just fat,
Yeah, he's got that like he's got that fucking thing.
No, because like when
he's got a little bit of that like Baron Hart
bags, I'm like, it looked like he was wearing a fat suit. It looked real wild to me. I don't know. Maybe that's just his build, but I just thought it was very funny looking. Like the next scene when he grabs his bags and walks out, that's just hilarious, yo.
Oh man,
look at it. It's funny.
Before I get to the bag scene, I did like where he was like, after he says all this shit, he was like, "Let us pray," and like everybody puts their heads down to pray. Kerry Washington's just like staring right at him, and the one black chick, she like keeps one eye open. She's like, I want to see what happens. Like she was just being an asshole. And then they find he like wrote letters like making up shit. It was like, oh yeah, she's running it like a brothel and all this other shit, like just straight up lying.
Yeah, he was at the dance and they were dancing and shit. So, these fucking harlots.
Like, all right,
these motherfuckers, man.
Yeah. So she's like, yeah.
You sure this ain't a fat suit?
Yo, it might be a fat suit, yo.
Nah, yo, a fat suit.
It's crazy to me. Look at him, yo.
I found a couple images of him. I mean, it might be.
Nah, yo, that's not a fat suit.
What's his name?
That's his real life.
His name is Nick Harris, but like if you Google Nick Harris, a black dude comes up, so you gotta like.
Well,
like,
then
that's
maybe it's
famous. It's a whole suit. That's how not famous this guy is. Like the Nick Harris that comes up plays for the Browns. Like,
nah, yo, y'all being jerks. Like that's not a fat suit. Like that's his real life. Like don't do that to him. He's worked hard, or not.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Whatever, nigga. That was you a couple months ago. Nah, no. I'm on his IMDb page. Nah, he's got in another movie. He's got the Baron Harkonnen fucking neck. Like, nah, that's him.
No, I'm not talking because he can have that same neck, but like, yo, he looked wild in that fucking suit when he was walking.
Nah,
it's probably just a very ill-fitting suit.
Nah, yo, it's not because I'm looking at other images of him as a cop in a British show. He got the same build. Like, nah.
Oh well.
I mean, maybe his suit is not double breasted; it's double tittied, right? Like he's got just like homegirl, just like this is Martha and this is Mary Jane or whatever, and
this
and titties.
Oh, like what was it?
Maybe that is not fancy.
Like what's that scene from like Eastbound and Down? He was like, oh, what you got on there? It's a muscle shirt. Oh, I can see all your muscles and your beautiful set of titties that you got. like, oh, I don't say that. That's terrible. Just do a push-up. So we see a couple of the women in the battalion. They're driving their truck, I guess, back to. They're driving, I think, to like sort of back to where they stay at one point, and they just kind of buzz through a like a stop. Like people are like, "Hey, don't fucking go this way," and they were just like, "No, we just doing it anyway. Whatever. It's wartime. That feels like a weird choice." And she's like, "No, we got to keep this momentum going." And they end up on a bomb. They
on a what is it? A UXB, an unexploded bomb.
Yeah. And so they get some of the women out of the back of the truck like easy, and they get out, and then the two women in the front are like, "We're gonna try to get out," and they get blowed up. Unfortunately, this
actually happened.
I was gonna say this actually happened. It's like on the Wikipedia it says they got into just a Jeep accident. It doesn't say, or a truck accident or what have you. It doesn't say about a UXB. I didn't see anything about that. But
I didn't. I just
three women did in fact die.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they did this just for dramatic effect. I mean, it's a pretty dramatic effect, but there's only like, I think there's only four women who have been buried. Hold on, let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, three women from the battalion were killed in a Jeep accident. Mary H. Bankston, Mary Jewel Barlow, and Dolores Mercedes Brown. They were buried at the Normandy American Cemetery. Three of only four women to be interned there alongside 9,000 men. The fourth was Elizabeth Ann Richardson of the Red Cross, who was a volunteer, killed in 1945. So, yeah, there are only very few people who ended up in that Normandy American Cemetery, which I think is the cemetery they were at when she finds Abrams' tombstone. I think that's the Normandy Cemetery as well. What's fucked up is the military will not pay to bury these women. Because, again, just racism. Just racism. Like,
yep.
That's really the only reason, which is fucking horrendous and a real piece of shit way to treat people. They are eventually buried as Major Adams advocates for them to be, and it makes it all the way up, and they are buried properly at the at that particular.
Yeah, they all chipped in with their fresh $20 bills. There's someone brought to people's attention on the internet is that in that hat there were like 24 $20 bills in there.
Big face bills, Joe.
Yeah, big face bills. First of all, they were putting 20s in there in the 40s.
Right.
No.
Yeah, that's like nigga, that's their whole paycheck for
I think that's a $100 bill in that motherfucker. I'm like, yo, come on, nigga. What are you doing? Yeah, they had some big face 20s in there.
It was like, I'll show them. I'm going to use real money. Well, you used the wrong real money. What the fuck?
Oh,
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, you're right. Like if you look, yeah, that's yeah. Okay. Again, it's the little things.
Not only that, but they're in Europe. So what will they use American money? I don't know. Maybe they were. I don't know. I've never been overseas.
I mean, they don't take U.S. dollars if that's your point. No, but very weird. So eventually, Lena's told by Major Adams, like, hey, if you know the day in which Abram died, you can find his tombstone here, right? As they're burying their fellow soldiers. She's like, look, take your time, go find him. And she has that one black dude who's been trying to get in her pants the whole time. She's like, have him drive you back to the base.
He left his fiance to be with her, you know.
Yeah. Classic.
Right.
That's
so romantic. No, it's not. What the fuck?
Like, oh, Grandpa had a wandering eye. He was quite the romantic, I guess. Nigga cheated on you.
It's literally what a Rolling Stone is, yo. It's just like, ooh. Hey now.
What's up, girl? How you doing?
Ebony Obsidian, you blackety black. Like,
I'm telling you, if her middle name isn't Onyx, it's a missed opportunity. It really is. I should say Ned Oris. What is this fucking dude's name? God damn it.
Dean Norris?
Dean Norris, thank you.
General Halt.
He's a real piece of shit in this movie. He comes to do an inspection, and he's like, hey, why isn't the whole battalion here? Like, it's not that many women. And they're like, well, we work in 24 hours. We're working 24 hours. So we have a night shift and a day shift. The other women are sleeping. And he's like, oh, you got them sleeping in the middle of the day? Like, again, I just explained to you why that would be. They're not awake because they've been working all night. Again, this is not rocket science. That's why you couldn't catch the fucking drug dealer who lived right next to you, you dumbass. Just pick up basic clues. And so he's like, oh, why do they have a beauty salon in here? It's like, because they're black women and need to have their hair done. He's like, I don't have one. Well, look at you, nigga. Like, what the fuck? I will tell you. And so he's looking around. He has all these issues with. He's just basically saying, "Oh, everything is fucking terrible. You're not doing a good job." And they're like, "Hey, are you opening these letters?" And she's like, "Well, some of them we have to because we don't know who it's to because it's addressed to Bubba. How the fuck are we supposed to know who the fuck that is?" Or the envelopes are fucked up. And so he takes personal offense.
Reading these white soldiers' mail.
I know that's another thing about racism. That's just like, what the fuck? How dare you read these white letters?
They're private.
They might have shit about what are your white secrets in these letters? Are the secrets to privilege in these letters? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Here's step one: how to get a high credit score. Oh shit, they read the letter. Oh no. Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, it's like fake outrage, obviously.
Yeah, I hate fake outrage.
It's annoying. He gets mad because they got perfumes. He's like, what's this all about? And they're like, well, actually, we trace it back and then realize where the letter came from, and then that's how we can, track these people down. And he was like, damn, these niggas might be smart. Like, oh shit, I better not say anything. That's crazy. He really couldn't say anything there. He's like, all right, that's kind of fucking clever. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, well, they did become like superhumans and shit. It's like if you tell me which movie that they went, then I could figure out what town in America they was in. So I was like, what the fuck are you saying right now? There's that scene where they were just trying to figure out where these letters were coming from and where they were going to. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like a bunch of bullshit. But it may have been true, but like, okay, they're all like Albert Einstein at this point. What the fuck is going on?
Well, I can't remember what the
particular factory, and if I could trace back to what factory it was, I could be able to tell them what town they came from. I'm like, all right,
yeah, they really did yada yada that right towards the end. It was like, well, I could tell by the handwriting on this letter that this person used it, and yeah, I can. You see where the postmark is? I know that zip code is 90210. I saw it on a TV show. That means that they from California. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on, yo?
Yeah, I mean, some of it is a little like, all right, okay, guys. Like,
hey, maybe that's what they did, but I was like,
maybe, okay, yeah, maybe they did it. I mean, look, I'll believe.
There's a lot of mail, my nigga.
He had
burned some of
he had the women, who were there in the movie. So look, I'll believe him, but like that would be interesting, right? Like how to figure out this puzzle,
the fucking savant.
Yeah, like how to figure this out. The
beautiful mindness of it all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. But we pining over fucking
over some white man.
Some white dude. Like, come on, man. Like show how these women were smart enough to figure this out and do it do an impossible task in half of the time that they were given.
Right. Yeah.
That
would have been a way better fucking movie. Instead of instead of that like 2-minute scene where they were like, I could do this, and this.
That would have
and then they just did it. And I'm like, well, I don't even understand what the fuck you just said.
Yeah, show your work.
Like, I don't understand what you're saying. Right.
Yeah, your work. Well, what's the movie with
like
the
hidden
three
or hidden figures?
Hidden figures. Hidden fences.
Yeah. Like hidden fences. Yeah, hidden figures.
Like, we've never done that movie, and I find that movie to be relatively like boring. But there are like I didn't think it was that good. I just really didn't. It's a very Disney-fied movie.
Yeah.
But it does have that moment where you're actually showing them kind of showing their work and like them actually figuring this shit out, which is more interesting than sort of these other like the love story and shit like that. Like, it would have been far more interesting. Again, they were
like, here's the thing about this movie.
Go ahead.
It's 17 million pieces of mail. Like, again, them showing how they did it would have been amazing. We know it's 1942. There's wild races. You don't have to tell us that. You don't have to really show us that.
Yeah,
we don't need to know that because we already
can
know.
even look. I don't
but
even
you have a
mind
little like you can have it like
shown.
touching on things, but like
just pepper in, right? But
the focus of it, I'm like, yeah, we know,
right? But it's a Tyler
like, we
Perry
know,
movie, right? Like, you gotta big up, like you gotta big up the black women, right? I get it, right? I get it.
Yeah, I understand.
I just wish you
he
showed.
But he didn't. He could have done so much more by showing,
by showing like how they logistically were able to think about. Like, look, man, I'm a big proponent of women in STEM, not because they're necessarily smarter, but because they think differently.
Yeah.
And this is a prime example of women thinking differently in order to accomplish something
that men couldn't do.
Didn't show it. Right, that men couldn't do, that white women couldn't do.
He could just do that shit in hangers. Like, fuck it.
And they couldn't, like that would have been so much more interesting, in my opinion. Not like this weird, like, I don't know.
We're gonna make it.
I don't
We're all gonna do it together in your dream sequence. Yeah, I mean, that was actually a thing I was waiting on. Of like, okay, how the fuck did they do this? Like, there's got to be some, like, they just showed them just kind of all standing there like working. There has to be a sense of logistics that other people couldn't do, like that they didn't think about.
He literally had the woman that was there at the end of the movie. She could have told him, how the fuck did y'all? He's like, yo, how the fuck did y'all do that? And she could have told him, and they could have threw it in the movie.
Right, because it's not.
There was a bunch of them.
Right, it was like 850, like 855 people or something in that battalion. But like, my thing is,
I mean, the ones that survived. That
quite a few.
They were still alive until like 2024, 2021. They were old. They could have
just asked them,
how'd you do that shit?
Right.
She was right there. How'd you do it? I mean, they did have that one scene where like, well, we did this, and this, but like, I think show it, please.
Right.
I would really love to know.
They didn't do it
because I didn't understand what they were saying on that part. I'm like, the fuck, what? I don't.
Right. Well, and it's because he didn't understand it either. Like, he didn't have a deep sense of what they did. Right. And like, logistics is a big part of the military. Right. Like, you need to understand
the biggest part.
Right, like
3 million people in the fucking military.
Right. How do you ship, materials across the world, especially like in peacetime? That's already difficult, right? Shipping things, making sure it gets there. I mean, that's why there's like fraud and stuff like that, because there's so many holes for things to fall through and everything else. But like, how do you ship, materials and weapons and toilet paper and Jeeps and all sorts of shit? How do you ship all those things around the world? Now double that from the perspective of its wartime. Like, how do you do that? And now you're talking about delivering mail to troops all over Europe in real time, and you don't know where they all are because they're moving constantly, right? Like, you have
in the 40s.
In the 40s, right?
We don't have internet.
You can't just fucking pull up, like, hey, where are you guys on Google Map? Drop a pin type of shit, right? So that is incredibly difficult. And like, when you think about, they just help deliver the mail, on its surface, you're like, well, I mean, like, yeah, that's like, is that big of a deal? But when you think about all the logistics of trying to do that in the 40s during wartime, that's absolutely insane. I'd have been like,
And the amount. Again, and the amount that they did
Right.
in 30 in
Less than 90 days. They said less than
in half the time that they were
half
given,
the time that they gave them. Right.
right.
which
And
wasn't good, which wasn't enough time to begin with.
Right. And not only did they do it in a half the time, but they were also dealing with horrendous location to stay in. They didn't have heat. Most of the time they weren't given, any sort of like real direction or anything. They were given nothing. They were basically set up to fail. And they did this thing that black people tend to do, which is rise to the occasion and pull off shit that white people don't think that they can do because they have to. I mean, it's just, it's like, it's just our history. It's just the thing that happens to us. But it would have been far more interesting to see, like, okay, logistically, what did they realize was the method that was working and that was what they should have done versus all of these white men who couldn't figure it out and all these white women who couldn't figure it out. Nobody got it until these black women who nobody gave a shit about were able to figure it out. That would have been like you said earlier, Terrence, like that idea of like a beautiful mind type of scene where like, oh shit, like they kind of figure out this pattern and they're all working. Yeah, it was super interesting. Like they touch on, again, this is what happens when you're like, you have an idea, but you're not like a deep enough writer to kind of really pull it out. Like he touches on that scene where they're like, okay, what do you do? And what did you do? And what did you do? And this person's like, I was a mortician. And she's like, well, what the fuck is that going to do? Like, all right. And the one woman's like, I was a postmaster. I'm like, why the fuck are you back there? Get your ass in the front of the line. This is what you do. Why didn't you say that to begin with?
Right.
But like, okay, the woman who can identify fabrics and like, how did all of those people interconnect their knowledge to come up with this idea? Because it's clearly that's what happened. That's left on the table. It's just like really bizarre. Like, what was the purpose of showing that? Like they come from all these different walks of life that are important. Keep going with the idea. Like dig into that idea a bit, but he never does. Just touches on the surface and moves on. It's very strange. Then Dean Norris like delivers this fucking shitbag statement. He's like, hey, you tried to go over my head and get your soldiers buried. I'm going to have this whole thing shut down because FDR at that point is no longer president. He's dead. And Truman is president. He's like, yeah, good old white man, just what I need. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to have all this shut down, and I think I'm going to have you relieved of your duties, for doing your job. And then I'm going to bring a white lieutenant in here to show you how to run this unit. And Chastity or Major Chastity Adams was like, nah, get the fuck out of here, like over my dead body, which is, by the way, a real thing she said. Like she really did say that to a general. I don't know if it was in front of all of these people, but since it was written down, I have to imagine it probably was. At least some people. And then she basically is like, she gives that fucking Kerry Washington like fucking shaking, like I'm about to give you a couple bars style big speech, right? And which at the end she yells, speech. "Earn me." Yeah, this is her earn me speech. You want those letters? Earn me. Like, all right, relax. Stop cheating with the president of the United States. And so, yeah, so she fucking lays into him like all the dirty shit that this guy has done and sent that chaplain. She lost 2 soldiers because of the UXB. And, she was like, they were well trained because I trained them. Like, she's on the verge of crying. And she fucking, she basically fucking reads this guy the riot act. And she says, we are fighting on every front, which I'm sure is also a nod to the article title that this is sort of, based on. And she fucking lays into him. And he just, he gives her that fucking grimace. And then he walks away, which is, remarkable, honestly, and didn't call her a nigger straight to her face. I'm shocked. Wouldn't be the first time it happened in the movie. He leaves, and she's pretty sure she's going to get court-martialed. And then all the women stop working, and then she's like, "Get back to work!" And she comes down. She stands on a little, a soapbox, if you will. That was for you guys. And And she, God damn it, and she stands up on a little soapbox to yell at them about getting back to work, and they all start clapping for her, and she starts ugly crying as Kerry
She gives that Kerry
like,
Washington.
Thank you.
I started laughing.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I do it for y'all. I did that for y'all. I told him to kiss our black asses collectively.
Right. So yeah, again, she's the best ugly crier in the business. She really is.
Right.
And so he's like, we smash cut to Norris on the phone, and he's like, yeah, I want her court-martialed, and tell Truman, get a message to Truman, and all this other shit. And I hear all this cheering outside, and they go outside, and Norris is like, oh, what the fuck's going on? And they're like, oh, the men are getting their mail, sir. What? The men are doing it. This is highly convenient to exactly the story timing. This is weird. And so they're all out there, and they're all getting their mail, and they're happy. They're probably getting cookies from 7 months ago or 3 years ago or whatever. And everything's great. Then you see the 6888. They're walking through a train station or something, and you see some men sort of at a balcony. They're like, "Hey, are you the 6888?" And they're like, "Yes, we are." And they're like, "Hey guys, this is 6888," and they all salute, and people clap, and it feels like one of those things where I would say, anything can happen when you make up a story, because that didn't happen. That definitely didn't happen. And you know how I know it didn't happen?
Yeah.
Because the guys calling from the balcony, and they're like, "Hey, we're saluting you, and we're really proud of you." All of those guys are silhouetted because they don't have personalities or faces because they didn't exist. And this is a dream sequence, as far as I can. And even the racist soldiers who were shitty to them earlier were like, "Oh, we salute you now, Major Nigger. We're cool with you." Like, that's not how life works. It's not how life works. And then we get like real footage of all these all the real soldiers that are still alive, which I thought was dope.
Yeah, this was the cheat code, right? Like, well, this movie was terrible, but god damn it, you got me at the end.
Yeah, you did.
Right? It's like,
It's hard to.
And it was Derek like talking, like, reading the article or whatever the fuck it was. I'm like, well, god damn it, man.
Wait, that woman is 100 years old. The woman sitting there reading the letter. Jesus,
yeah, I'm like, she looks really fucking good.
She looks like maybe she's 70, dude.
Yeah.
God damn, black people, I swear. Like, we age wonderfully. Like that, that woman does not look like maybe she's 80 years old.
Now think about
Jesus.
All the actual stress and hardcore overt racism that this woman had to endure.
Right.
And she still looked like that. Man, shit. You talk about it. You're right, Terrence. We are a fucking cheat code.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, that woman, like, she's 100 years old. Like, that's insane to me. That's insane to me.
Yeah, I just looked up. She died in January of last year, like 5 days before her 101st birthday, which is crazy.
That's
so yeah, she was 100. Still looked like she was in her like 70s, maybe 80.
Yeah, she looks incredible for 100 years old. That's remarkable. Yeah, so they've got
She did marry that cheating ass nigga. Again, I don't know how long he lived, but it wasn't 100.
And I still don't.
He wasn't there, was he?
Like,
was he?
Like,
no, he wasn't. Oh man, good lord!
She was like, "Get that guy the fuck out of here."
This really is an incredible story. The story in and of itself is incredible, but this movie just did it no fucking favors.
It didn't. I did like the footage, the actual footage of the 6888 arriving in Europe. That's kind of dope. I just think that's just really cool footage, and then you see a little bit of a clip of at the Women's Memorial, Michelle Obama giving honors to two of the women from the 688, which I thought was awesome too. I hadn't seen that before. Yeah, like it's great. And then they show the names of the 855 women in the 688, which is hilarious because you can see how common certain names are. It's like Mad Dolores's, Mad Marys, and Irene's. Like it's just really
like 8 Julias. I was like, what the heck?
Yo,
Nigga, how many Bernices are there? Good Lord.
It's really funny. Like Alice's, there's a lot of Alice's. Like almost nobody.
Like 20 Thelmas.
A lot of Elizabeth, a lot of Eleanor.
My grandmother was named Thelma.
There you go.
Thelma.
Jesus.
There's a lot of
That's an
Ruth.
old-ass name, boy.
There's a lot of Ruth.
So is Ruth. So is Ruth.
Yeah, there's mad Ruths out there. Evelyn, clearly a very popular name. Yeah, I just thought when I was watching, I was like, Jesus Christ, Catherine, Francis. Yeah, a lot of Thelmas. God damn. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool though for them to sit and name all of those people. I think that was dope.
Thelma, Theodora, Theodosia.
Oh, so niggas did that shit too. Niggas did that shit too. Name their daughters after themselves and shit.
Yep. Absolutely.
Theodora.
What the fuck, nigga? Really?
Oh, I went on a date with a girl named Derica. I was like, so what's your dad's name? It's like,
Come
Derek.
on,
Yeah, I was like,
yeah. That's fucking ridiculous.
self-obsessed assholes. So major charity Adams, she is the only black woman to get an honor of a U.S. Military base named after her as well. So in April 27, 2023, U.S. Army Base Fort Lee, named after the Civil War Confederate general, fuck him, was renamed to Fort Gregg Adams in honor of two black U.S. Army pioneers, Lieutenant General Arthur Gregg and, of course, Charity Adams. And she is the only black woman in U.S. history to receive such an honor. So kind of a big deal. And they got a lot of sort of post-war recognition, in like kind of starting in like 2009. Shocking news. Once we had a black president, these people were given their fucking flowers. Shocking news.
Right.
So
This fucking country, man.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Barack Obama, they ain't do nothing for black people. Hey, did you know about this story? Because these motherfuckers went out of their way to make
I
sure.
didn't.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like they went out of their way to honor these people where they received nothing, right? So February 25th, 2009, that was when I think that's when that Michelle Obama speech was. 2016, there was a ceremony. 2018, they were also honored. 2019 and 2021. So there you go. That's great. One thing I did find really interesting, they did a parade when they were in Europe, which was the 688 participated in a parade ceremony at the place where Joan of Arc was executed, which I thought was just kind of fucking interesting. But it was, to honor their work. I mean, Joan of Arc was kind of a big deal. So, yeah, I mean, look, these women deserve all the praise that people lay upon them and lay at their feet. This movie just doesn't do their story justice. I just don't think it does.
No.
I would have liked to see somebody like Steve McQueen do this or something like that. Like somebody who would really fucking go for broke on this. But this is what we got. We got this in red.
Jesus Christ.
Well, Neo was in that, right? Was he in that? Neo?
Yeah, that was the first time I saw
He wasn't
him
that
without a hat.
Yeah, he played like a country, like country dude.
Keep that hat on, nigga.
Oh, that ain't right.
He got like a divot in his head or some shit.
I mean, genetics. Sad. All right. I think that is it for us for episode 275, the 6888. I have an idea for the next episode. I think would be far better, a far better movie. Definitely starring an actor who I think we all really like quite a bit. So we'll be back with a preview episode next week for episode 276. Later, guys.
See ya.
You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the black community.